Hello, beautiful soul, and thank you so much for listening to this mini podcast series, Love Notes, for the woman who is learning that she's actually a leader and also perhaps learning to accept it. I want to take a moment out of my planned scheduled topics and come in here and share a little bit about my story and my mission and my why behind She.For.WE. If it hasn't been clear so far, if you've listened to this, you're probably a great fit for my community, She.For.WE. The challenging bit that I've had the hardest time articulating is what She.For.WE truly is, because it doesn't quite fit into the category of community. It doesn't quite fit into the category of group coaching. It doesn't quite fit into the category of strategy, mastermind, webinar. It doesn't also quite fit into the category of program. And the reason being is I'm creating something new and something different. So I want to start with a bit of a backstory, a bit of my why. So if you haven't listened to any of my other podcast episodes on Sovereign Heart, then my story likely is brand new to you. I'll share the pieces that I feel are very appropriate and applicable for this specific topic. So, as you may or may not know, I grew up in a very conservative Bible Belt area of Manitoba, Canada, right smack dab in the middle of Canada. And with that came an assumption of what religion I would be a part of, and an assumption of what I would believe and who I would be as a woman, as a wife, as a daughter, all the above. In addition to that, my sister was born when I was a month away from turning 2 years old. And though that's not anything groundbreaking, she was born with special needs, which they didn't know if she would live past a day or two, and ended up living 14 years. She had high physical, emotional, and mental needs and requirements that took both of my parents away from me at 2 years old. So, in and amongst that time, I also lost not only my agency, but my autonomy. And in the loss of my agency, so not having a sense of self and not kind of knowing who I am or having that space to become myself, because I grew up in a certain environment that encouraged this is what we believe in our family, and this is what we believe in our town, and this is what we believe in our province, right? They also got this is what we believe as a whole. And I lost my voice, I lost my truth, I lost my intuition. And the reason that I lost that is because I learned at a super young age that someone else might die if I get my needs met. Someone else's needs are more important than mine. And the only importance that I have is when I am helpful by being either A, out of the way, invisible, or literally stepping in as a third parent to support my parents. This is what was ingrained in me, not literally told to me. So as a child, I learned very quickly by observing behaviors what the adults around me said were okay to do and not okay to do. And I often got praised for being quiet and wise and mature for my age and polite and nice. And so I learned to perform that role. That role really impacted how I saw myself throughout the years. So I have an inner narrator that is extremely rebellious, that is very individualistic, and that often asks why. Now, that voice was kept quiet literally my whole life. I would sit in the classroom and I would never ruffle any feathers. I would do my best to not break any of the rules. I would sit in church and not ask any questions because God forbid that I ask something that might upset someone or think outside the box. I fall in line. I kept what was quote unquote proper. And in my brain, I was always asking tons of questions. What that ended up doing and manifesting as way later, and it was surprising to me when it showed up, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but it manifested as me literally getting sick. I literally was diagnosed with multiple different autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, endometriosis, anxiety, depression, digestive issues, food sensitivities and allergies. No one really totally knew exactly what was wrong, but at that point, at my diagnosis, this is the fascinating thing. It came after years of all the trauma I'd been through, marriage, divorce, grief and loss, moving, being evicted, unemployment, medical traumas, close people passing away, all of that, and then me going back to school for my second education, my second career path, which is the one I'm in now, of learning how to be a therapist and a coach. And after I finished that program, my body was finally like, okay, now you know how to take care of yourself. We're going to shut you down so that you know how to stop playing the nice girl, stop playing the girl who fits in, and questions, like let her question things. And I'm going to teach you how to set boundaries because your body needs you to learn to say no. Your body needs you to learn to speak up. Your body needs you to listen to it. It was so evident to me. And this was a time when I was building my private practice and I was growing, and it was really, really challenging for me not to be able to push myself into success. My body literally said, stop and slow down, to the point where, I kid you not, I couldn't even stand for more than 5 minutes to wash some dishes in my kitchen without being out of breath. That's how bad it was. Side note, very quickly learned over the years that I had mold poisoning and dormant Epstein-Barr syndrome. So if you want to look into that, I have a whole rabbit hole that I've explored. And I love talking holistic health with people, and especially with my one-on-one clients. I really actually look at things holistically when I'm supporting you because of my own journey into needing to see the whole picture. So all that being said, the voice in me finally needed to come out. And there was a turning point and a trigger point for me when I was learning, also amongst, again, becoming a therapist and coach. I was also learning about my feminine energy and my femininity and my sensuality, my sexuality. Again, there was so much conditioning around me growing up about what it means to be a woman. I grew up in a very Mennonite upbringing, extremely conservative, pacifists, immigrants who had to flee their country because they would not fight in a war, very religious. Okay, so there was a lot of what it means to be a woman indoctrinated into me. And though many of those foundational pieces I'm so grateful that I have, many of them were also very harmful and taught me how to show up as a wife, as a woman, as a partner, what I was allowed to feel in my body, not to feel in my body, what I had permission to like behave like, and yeah, just all the rules, all the rules. And I will say I am incredibly grateful in many ways to my parents for knowing that I was a good girl and knowing that I wasn't particularly breaking the rules, because they allowed me to play with things like my wardrobe and my hair. So I got to rebel with what I wore as my clothes and what I did with my hair and my makeup. And lo and behold, obviously my first career was in fashion because of that, because it was my creative outlet, it was my freedom. Okay. Outer matched my inner, but my words and behaviors were not matching my inner. And a woman's words who don't match her inner is the woman who, she often gets sick. She often has an autoimmune condition. She often has hormonal issues. She often has cycles of burnout. And she often wonders why nothing is aligning for her, nothing is working out for her, everything doesn't seem like it fits. It makes sense. It doesn't work. She often also identifies, this is one big one for me, I identify with people misunderstanding me, people not listening to me feeling invisible, mixed with me feeling uncomfortable with being seen for many, many years. mixed with a desire to be seen and noticed and not wanting to play behind the scenes. So again, interesting paradox, right? All this being said, okay, what does this have to do with SHE.FOR.WE? What does this have to do with my mission? What does this have to do with my vision for the world? Well, my mission and my vision in SHE.FOR.WE is to help women step into their personal alignment. And what that means is that they feel so attuned to their intuition, to their body, and to their emotional state that nothing else matters. They are so alive and present in their body that they cannot deny what is a yes and a no for them because they trust themselves wholeheartedly. And when they trust themselves, they can make lasting change in the people's lives that they're a part of as well, because they can discern truth, they can speak up for what matters, and they can express themselves in a way that is confident and secure and even charismatic, because there isn't a fear of, let's just say it, there's no fear of death. There's no fear of loss. There's no fear of abandonment. There's no fear of rejection, because she's not rejecting herself anymore. She's not abandoning herself anymore. And for so many years, I would say literally into my early 30s, I didn't even catch how often I was abandoning myself. And when I started my business as a therapist, I was trying to be for everyone. And in turn, that meant I was ultimately for no one. I met a lot of people, I supported a lot of different traumas, and I realized down the road that I preferred working with certain demographics of people. And the demographic of people that I really enjoy working with is women who are growth oriented and who are breaking cycles, breaking generational patterns, breaking the mold, breaking free from what they've been told they're supposed to be, changing the narrative. Maybe they're paradigm shifters, maybe they're rebels, maybe they're fighting for freedom, maybe they're like super focused on sovereignty and autonomy. Anything that has a bit of courage towards growth and driven towards change. This isn't everyone. This isn't a dynamic or a niche that is every single person on this planet. In fact, many people don't actually want to change. They come to therapy to regulate and to diffuse the tension that's in their body from the emotions that they feel from the crisis that they've co-created. They don't actually want to necessarily change the pattern. And when I realized this, that the majority of the planet feels safer staying the same, I realized who I wanted to speak to. I wanted to speak to the woman that had the courage to be different, the courage to lead. And that's who I'm speaking to right now, because I had to break generational cycles. I had to break the mold. I had to come to find my voice, my truth, my beliefs, and speak them forward. I'm here for women. And SHE.FOR.WE is a byproduct of that, because the other piece that I really saw a pattern happening is that same mentality I got caught up in. What are all the cool coaches doing? What does this person say I should do with my business? What is this person's strategy for me to get to a certain amount of money? What is this? And I was looking outside of myself for all the answers when I didn't realize that all I needed was someone to remind me that the answers were within my body, because as women, we run a body-based business. This is my message to women every single time we meet in SHE.FOR.WE. It's why I work on the nervous system, so that you can regulate enough to listen to your body. It is so important that women have a relationship with their body, because when we don't, we lose ourselves. When you say, I feel like I've lost myself, I feel like I don't have time for myself, I feel like I'm giving to everyone else but me, it's because you're not making time to connect to you. That's the reality. And so you might have a thriving business and you're like, how on earth do I slow down enough to run my business like the feminine woman and the feminine leader I know I want to be? You might also be thinking, I don't know how to balance a job with stepping into my purpose. Okay, that's another big common question that I get. All of those foundations do not matter in She.For.We. It does not matter what level you're in your business. All that matters in She.For.We is that you are willing to take the time to receive, to learn to exhale, and to reconnect to your body so that you can speak your way, you can lead your way, you can learn your way, and you can be seen and magnetize your ideal clients, your ideal life. I'm here to hold the vision with you. As someone who is a neurospicy pattern interrupter, one who asks why, I'm not here to put you in a mold. That is literally a death sentence for me. When someone says this is the only way that you can do this, I'm like, yeah, right. Which to me is also the mind of a bit of an entrepreneur too, because entrepreneurs have to innovate. We have to think creatively. We have to be problem solvers and we have to think on our feet. So my pattern recognition and my questioning what's true, what's real, what's honest came from a place of a strong gift of discernment, but also I love the rebel in me who was like, who says that's the rule, right? I never, ever, ever used to operate with that. And now I can't not operate that way. I question who says, who said that that is the only way to the path of success? So when you come inside She.For.We, I am not here to create followers to join me in doing it my way. And She.For.We, I'm here to remind you of your leadership abilities, see you, witness you, and evoke in you your truth so that you can be the most authentic and empowered, yes, empowered version of a highly successful woman with a business. Because that's my vision for you. And my vision and my big mission for this planet is when we all learn to be in our hearts, be in our bodies, and attune to our intuition, we can drastically shift the frequency of this planet. And I've seen the impact because I've lived the impact. I've seen how my growth and my change and my taking care of my body has impacted my own immediate family and even my extended family. I am constantly met with people who say it's not possible for me to just shift my frequency and then change the people around me. Well, no, it's not possible if the only reason you're changing is to change other people. That's not the right motivation. If you are working on yourself and you come in with zero agenda other than love and unconditional love, matter of factly, what you can do to the world, the community, the people around you, you can't even fathom it. And the thing is, I don't even want you to fathom it. I just want you to know that your vibration ripples, your frequency ripples into the world around you. And this is the magic of feminine-based leadership. And this is the magic that so many people are afraid to tune into and tap into because our brain wants to go, what's the solution? What's the strategy? Give me a how-to. And the reality is slowing down enough to shift your frequency into your special sauce, your unique alignment, your unique magic, your unique mission, your unique purpose. Then you start tuning that radio dial and you find your radio station that plays your music, that plays your talking, that plays your mission, that plays your complete style because you are the curator of that radio station. And all that's going to do is create a opportunity for other people to find that frequency and go, ha, I like the style of music that she's curating on this playlist. I like the frequency that she's emitting when she's speaking. I resonate with that. And when you find your people, as women, when we find our people, we're unstoppable. And your people are inside She.For.WE. And your people are also outside of you, waiting for you to step into your aligned frequency so that they can find you, meet you, and pay you for the amazing service that you are providing them. And when you take your aligned self into a position of leadership with the energy of inviting other women to step into their leadership, again, this is how we amplify. This is how we change the world. My big term vision is that we're going to have multiple intimate cohorts around the world in different time zones where women can support women. Women are here to change the world. And typically speaking, entrepreneurial minds and service provider minds and the women who want to have a business are the ones who are craving to make a difference on this planet. I know you have a mission as well. When I think about the women who have joined She.For.WE, some of their missions are around shifting the frequency of this planet, reminding people how safe it is to be in their body, supporting women in feeling safe around money post-trauma, right? Helping people run a feminine-based business. That's not me saying my mission, but you can see, right, how I attuned my frequency to attract this demographic who aligns perfectly with my big mission. And even though it's not exactly the same, I encourage that because I want you to own your different. I want you to sing your own song. I want you to crank the radio in your car so loud and then belt it so loud and so confidently that you feel the most alive and vivacious in your body and completely unabashedly audacious with your vision, with your mission, with your purpose, with your business. And we do that by creating a relationship with your body and talking about all the resistances that come up when you are elevating into your next levels of success. And trust me when I say this, we talk about love, we talk about relationships, we talk about self, we talk about motherhood, we talk about human design, we talk about all these different things that create the multidimensional woman that you are, because everything relates to how you operate in your business. I guarantee you that your attachment style with your partner or with your friends or with your parents is going to rear its head in your business. And every single time when you get to those benchmarks of success and you have to kind of break through your own self-imposed glass ceiling to get to that next level, you're going to have to face those parts of self that have either been sitting dormant or created a narrative that is no longer serving you. And this is where She.For.WE comes in. I have worked with women for over 10 years, and I've been in leadership and business for over, gosh, at least 20 plus years. I became a manager when I was 18. Yeah, 18. I was managing people in their 50s because despite all of the things I shared with you with my upbringing, I carried myself as a leader my entire life. It's in my human design. I'm an oldest daughter, and ultimately I'm here to constantly challenge myself to grow. I always did, whether it was in the workplace or now in my own practice and my own business. So I'm here to challenge you to grow. And we don't talk fluff. We're talking about the real shit that's behind why you're not getting to where you want to go. It's real, it's raw, it's honest, it's authentic, and it's a place where you can take that stupid mask off that you've been carrying around based on all the roles that you've been told about what it means to be a successful business owner, a woman in your family, a daughter, a wife, a partner, a girlfriend, whatever. Take that fucking mask off and be yourself. The world needs you in alignment with your mission so that you can change the world around you. This is my vision. This is my prayer. This is my hope. And if this resonates with you, which clearly if you're listening, I'm sure it does, I only am opening up 6 spaces inside She.For.We right now. The doors are open right now, and we will be meeting on October 3. So you have to join us before October 3. And I've kept the price point accessible so that the number isn't the issue, because funds are often the number one excuse I see. And I don't want any fear stopping you from stepping into your personal power. I'm here to hold your hand as you take your life to the next level. And if you're ready, now is the time. Join us inside She.For.We. All the details are in the show notes below. Get on it ASAP, because I'm not kidding when I say I only have 6 spaces available, because my intention is to keep this container intimate, because I want to see you, I want to know you, and I want to hold the vision with you, and I want to participate with you. The juice of She.For.We is in our live calls. We meet live every 2 weeks, sometimes more, and I curate each live call based on you and what your needs are and what's important to you. This is why I'm not calling it anything particularly specific other than the simplest of terms is a support community for women who have a business, for women who are doing love, life, and business differently, for women who are ready to step into women-led leadership. If that's you, come join us today.